So I'm going to show 5 stocks today that have all pretty much taken a beating over the last year, just like pretty much the entire stock market has. But they all got pretty good yields now. So basically, we got a couple blue chip ones and a couple of REITs. So first one here, so 3M. As you can see, that's taking a whooping over the last 5 years. Like, might as well say 50% over the last year. It's been down 38% basically. But with that being said, the yield now is at a 5.25%, which for this stock is quite good. But with their issues, some lawsuits, some other stuff going on that you can read about, could be kind of risky. So I would just be precautious and maybe add as you see fit. But with a company that has been around this long, that's a substantial discount and a pretty good yield. But at the same time, could be a little risky. So who knows? But definitely wanted to point out that one being over 5%. So 3M been around a long time. They're in all kinds of different things out there. They're a big conglomerate. So definitely worth at least taking a look into. The next one, Phillip Morris Tobacco. I know there's always controversy on tobacco stocks, but with that one being nearly 6%, $85 a share, that's pretty solid. So if you look back, past 5 years down 22%, past year down just 12%. So it certainly has not taken nearly as bad as a whooping as some of these stocks have. And obviously, max over time, they've done pretty good. So yeah, 6% pretty much. I think that's a solid dividend yield. Plus, I believe this stock definitely has room to grow in the future. So definitely worth taking a look into. The next one be Verizon. Again, hard to say with Verizon. Long haul, I mean, they're definitely going to be around. They're still definitely one of the biggest players in the communications sector. But yeah, 7%. I mean, that's a solid yield, 7.17% at this current price. I mean, that's pretty tough to beat, but as you can see, it's taken 30% drop in the last year. In the last 5 years, even it's taken basically a 27% dip. So, but still a staple stock. Definitely, at least again, worth looking into at that yield for this company. Again, it's probably going to grow. I mean, I would be shocked if you look at this stock in 20 years and it's not, went back up at least in the, 40s or 50s. I mean, because you got to figure just literally, you go back. So, I mean, right here, I mean, so not even a year ago, you're still looking at 52, 53. What are we at? About 55. I think at one time, maybe in the last 5, at some point, I think it was near 60. Yeah, right there, 60. Yeah, so about the end of 2020, about 61, 55 or so. So, I mean, it kind of peaked right there several times in a few previous years. Like there back in 18, it kind of peaked around 60. So, I mean, this is definitely a good price, I would think, to get in if you believe in this company. I mean, 7% yield, certainly worth taking a look at. Tough one to pass up, at least to get a handful of shares anyway. And then the next one, Starwood. This is still one of my favorites. Just got a good yield. Some guys will argue and say, well, they've never really increased their dividend. But the yield's always solid. So, but yeah, they're definitely right. I mean, it's pretty much been the same dividend for like 10-some years now. It's like $1.92 a year, 48 cents per quarter. So yeah, I mean, I get all that. A lot of people like to see dividend growth. I mean, understood. But so if you go back, again, you look at 3M, there's dividend growth there. They've increased their dividend for many years. Phillip Morris, I think they've increased it, but certainly not as stable. I mean, I'm not really looking at that stuff right at the moment. Verizon, I know they continually increase their dividend or whatever, but yeah, I know some people just look for that growth, and I understand that, and I do to some degree, for sure. I mean, I definitely think that's worth factoring in. But yeah, Starwood definitely not really getting that right now, but the yield certainly to me worth it. Like I said, you can debate that all day long. But yeah, at over 10% yield now, to me at that price, that's certainly tough to pass up. But I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe the next year this drops even further. So I mean, certainly worth keeping an eye on if you don't think that it's worth buying it at this price. Again, keep an eye on it. Maybe it'll drop more, and heck, maybe you get a 15% yield on it if it keeps going. But as long as they don't drop the yield or lower it, still worth taking a look into. And then the last one I got for today, MPW Medical Property Trust. This thing has taken an absolute whooping over the last year. I mean, it's down, you might as well just say 50%. So again, over 10% yield now. Can this thing recover? Who knows? I mean, healthcare, you naturally would think that it would, but I have not really taken a look into this company a ton. I mean, I got just a couple of shares of it. I mean, as you can see in the brief description, they own over 438 properties in the U.S., Australia, Germany, Italy. So I mean, they've got obviously a decent sized portfolio. I mean, like I said, I've looked at them, over the past year or so, and like I said, own a couple of shares. But for that yield alone, I mean, I would definitely do some more research on it. But if you're like me and only buy a couple of shares at a time, again, just for the yield alone, probably worth a small risk in that. And again, a lot of these companies, we hope can recover at some point. Yeah, I've seen just out on different boards and different things. There's some people that are all about this stock, and then others say, nope, they got too many issues going on. They got, companies ain't paying the rent and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, it's controversial for sure. Like I said, always do research on these things. But to me, again, just for the yield alone, it's, a few shares here and there is what I'll pick up. And yeah, I certainly wouldn't make a sizable investment without researching a lot more into it. But even then, I mean, a lot of people it really don't even matter, honestly. Like, I mean, you can research to the end of time, and then some unforeseen event could happen next week and change everything. So, I mean, you can do that forever, and you still may never know how it's going to turn out. So, I mean, like I said, again, if you're going to drop like a couple $100, just it is what it is. But if you're, got $10,000, would I invest it all in this? No, probably not. Maybe a small percentage of that at best. So, just depends on what kind of money you got to work with. But yeah, certainly one to look at, keep an eye on, pay attention to. So that's the 5 for today. I've definitely got others on the radar, other ones that we're looking at, but these were the 5 that just came to mind as I was doing a little bit of looking around here earlier on some of these. So I'm sure I'll have some more coming up soon, because there's just like so many different ones to talk about. I mean, you got your classic ones like, Realty Income, ticker symbol O. That one's been, down. So I mean, you can get, I believe, nearly like 5% or 5.5%, something like that right now on that one. So I mean, obviously that one's been good. Everybody, any dividend investor likes that particular stock. So yeah, I'll definitely have some more coming for sure soon about some of these other ones, because like I said, with everything being down so much, it's probably a good time to at least start taking a look at some of these with all the current yields, I mean, being pretty good. And even if you're more of a growth dividend investor, a lot of the blue chip ones are down. So I mean, even if you don't care if it's 2, 3, 4%, a lot of those are definitely solid right now too. So yep, that's it. We'll probably have some more coming here pretty soon.